Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Infinite Badass Fleet! Something I kinda came up with back in 2022. Something for fun. Occurred to me back when the Muday bot was first introduced to a server that I hang out on with some friends. At first we were kinda just collecting characters as you'd typically expect, but an idea occurred to me. See, why settle with just collecting waifus or your favorite scrimblow? You get into fights with your friends over that kind of thing when instead, you could do something a little more ridiculous. So I decided I was gonna build an army of the greatest badasses I could collect across the multiverse. I'm talking that Pooh's Adventures type shit, man. You know what I mean. You've probably seen it somewhere before online. I decided to go with something a bit like that, but with characters I get through Muday. So it's pretty random. I'm not really just getting all the characters I want right away. I kind of have to build up to it by collecting what I can and like up in my numbers. Not gonna lie, a good chunk of the people I pick up were like from random stuff I either just happen to hear about or just from characters from gacha games I've never heard of or never played that I know, the characters in there are at least capable combat-wise. Heck, some of them are already on ships fighting stuff. That's kind of what the plan was. Now, of course, me being me, I had to put down some ground rules on how I was going to have this set up. So, of course, I have this whole vetting system I've set up. Like, I collect characters, I kind of just set up in a list. I go sort through them one by one, learn about the characters, who they are, what they do, what they're about. And if they seem like someone worthwhile, well, I add them to the fleet's ranks. And if not, well, that's some free caca for me. Yeah, it is what it is. With that all in place, I was able to basically earn up characters over time and gradually build up my army of sorts of random characters. And of course, unlike most situations I'll be hearing about on Muday, I'm not really the type to be like all petty and fighting over characters all the time. Like, a lot of people will be ruining their friendships over this bot. That's not how I roll. Not for me. It's like, if there's a character someone else really wants, like, I'll just give it to them. It's like no big deal. And then there's like other situations where we kind of come to like an agreement. Like one time we kind of like settled this whole thing with another guy. I keep good version of Android 21, he keeps the bad one. Like stuff like that. You know how it is. Because the good one isn't going to eat everyone else. That's my logic. For the first arc, the Void arc, I'm probably going to be using these guys as your standard enemies to be fighting. These ethereal guys from Zenless Zone Zero. I think that would work as like a standard enemy to start off with. Manageable, right? Makes sense. Gotta have something for everyone to fight. As for the boss, let's see, I had him listed down somewhere. Because I kind of have like a random selection of characters for them to fight each arc. For the first arc, the Void arc, I'm going to be using Void Beast Bayarth from Rogue Legacy 2. I thought it'd just be funny. Giant skeleton pirate commanding these things. The most random ass crossovers, It's weird, but it works. Yeah, that's kind of function with the Void arc. I think the song I'll probably be using would be... So I kind of have song planned out for like each arc. I'm gonna go with, Void. It just seems fitting, it's the Void arc, you're fighting the Void Beast, and these enemies have Void-like heads, so it makes sense that I'd use the song Void from Toganashi Togiri. There's a theme there, it's fitting. You may have heard that as that one song from that anime, was it Girls Band Cry? I haven't seen it, but the song slaps. It just works like a theme. Probably play a good piano version because I don't want to deal with copyright issues. Anyways, let's get into the story, I suppose. how that works out. So you're probably thinking, Mike, just how cringe is this gonna be? Oh, just wait, here we gonna go. Let me regale you a epic tale of random nonsense. Once upon a time, there was a massive void of nothingness. And I was falling through that. So there I am. Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation. I have no idea. I'd like to know myself. No amnesia. I'm just suddenly here. What the fuck? So I'm falling through what appears to just be an endless expanse of space with random black holes in the background that thankfully ain't close enough to spaghettify me to death. My fall slows until I land on an invisible floor like I'm in some Kingdom Hearts opening or something. Instead of a Station of Awakening, I just get ripples. Yeah. Anyway, once I grab my bearings, I proceed to check what's on me. Aside from the clothes on my back and my backpack, I seem to have Can Crusher, my old mallet made of wood and held together by metal bolts and fixtures. Found it in my garage one day. Zanidor, a wood katana replicas that I got from an anime convention in Hoboken. Kinda looks like the Tenza Zangetsu from Bleach, but with a different handguard design because it splits into two swords. Neat. The Bootleg Oathkeeper, a replica keyblade also obtained from the same convention. It looks like a scuffed version of Oathkeeper with a far more simplified design. At least it's made of metal. The Google Pixel, a smartphone with the expected features and such from a late 2010s phone. It has no magical properties like that one isekai. Samsung Galaxy Tab E. Similar case to the smartphone, but with a mid-2010s tablet. It is also not magical. We're not doing that. And something I didn't have before, a new thing. The Tome of Mude allows for new character summons to the fleet and upgrading of summoning abilities. Now clearly one of these things is not like the other, so I skimmed through this book trying to figure out what the deal is with it, and it starts glowing and I find that I am able to activate summons with particular runes to activate. Before I do though, the book allows me to create a vessel to travel in. Using the blueprint I already made for a series I was planning on making myself, the book proceeds to glow and before my very eyes an entire galleon appears in pristine condition. Once I climb aboard, I proceed to make my first official summon. And so, with $W, I summon forth Leopard Princess Hyoki from Senran Kagura. Now, of course, my logic here is that, hey, it's a Senran Kagura character. That's the game about all those big titty anime ninja girls, right? They can fall fight, so that's just a shoo-in. Little did I know, I would be unwittingly rolling evil shinobi over and over again. For some weird reason, I just can't roll the good shinobi to save my goddamn life. My luck is impeccable. So, of course, what is Hyoki's deal? Well, she's an evil shinobi, obviously. Now, I didn't notice because when I got her on the bot, the picture they were showing me of her just looking up from inside of a phone booth waiting for the rain to stop, and she didn't look evil at all to me in that image, so I kind of just assumed that she wasn't. Just my luck. Anyway, her whole deal is that she's basically kind of just not messing with like anybody like that. Cause she got this whole situation, like, right? She's from a family of evil ninja, but her parents be neglecting her because they prefer her older sister. So she kind of got some family issues with that. She got some beef she's not really like messing with. So even when later on she kind of gets into this whole deal with her dad doing some evil science shit, and she ends up like becoming half monster or whatever. It's a whole thing. Point is, she can fight, and what I gotta do is like convince her to actually help me get through some shit. You know, we're fighting some enemies, and like, okay, yeah, we'll figure things out as we go. Next summon, Lesti Freeven from Sequel Colony. Apparently some South Korean RPG or something, I don't know. Might be ecchi. Who knows? Point is, I kind of just assumed, hey, this character is blind. She might be a total badass and we don't even know it. Then I look up her information, and actually, she's not really like all that powerful. She'd be out here like drinking and shit. Probably mostly just good for like hitting enemies with some good debuffs and stuff. So, you know, Some good support, at least. That's something. Next up, Alicia Forestlight from Danmachi. Of course, she's very versatile in her skills. You know, swordsmanship, archery, and magic. That's like a whole kit and caboodle right there. Next up is Melora, the charming sniper from Dragalia Lost. Also well-versed in archery and magic. Also really obsessed with flirting for some reason. I'm gonna let you look pretty though. You got Reyna Arendelle from Elsword. Really good with archery and magic. One thing about her, apparently, like, you know, she's elf, so she's obviously like over 100 years old. Probably couldn't be able to tell because, you know, elf physiology. Then we got Fabiola Iglesias from Black Lagoon. Now it's just obvious, yeah, she's in, because she's a woman from Black Lagoon. If you know anything about Black Lagoon, is that you don't fuck with the women from Black Lagoon. They will fuck your shit up. Period. Now we got King of the Night Ilnat from Grand Blue Fantasy. Fun fact, I know absolutely nothing about Grand Blue Fantasy coming into this, so like I was basically learning about a whole ass new IP. And this. Why is she huffing paint? Like I guess she's like sort of a rebel and out here like doing street art and shit, but like, but don't be getting all up in your own supply, girl. No. At least she can fight, with good ranged options with combat. Also from Grand Blue Fantasy, we got the Disenchanted Sword Devil, Azusa. Now, of course, well-versed swordsman, so obviously that's just a shoo-in. Even if the sword is cursed, I mean, look at Zoro, one of his swords is cursed, and he's still out here, like, messing shit up, so like, hey, why not? Then we got Emi Ogasawara from Ghost Weaver Mikami. You know, she got some skills. I looked up her information. It's like, dang, she's pretty versatile. You got some voodoo exorcist shit going on. Ex-assassin. And yeah, some rough childhood, but, you know, who doesn't? Working with that kind of shit. Hopefully that whole contract with Belial won't be a problem, though. And then we got Murasaki from Senran Kagura as well. Honestly, it's funny how like I keep rolling these Senran Kagura girls and it's like all of them got these tragic backstories and shit. Like, hey, look up this girl, right? She's some depressed hikikomori type shit, hates leaving her room. How you still like, you're supposed to be going to like freaking ninja school, girl, what? I don't know. It was like, hey, at least she can fight, so that's something. Some with them hair shuriken cut up monsters and shit. And then finally, the first male character I actually rolled because I figured out, oh right, I can put in $M to roll people in general instead of being stuck only rolling women with $W. So fun fact, his full name is actually Jean Petrovich de la Noche Solomon Gris Pippin Wondersmith. Or at least that's one of his aliases. Yeah, we all just call him Seth, that's easier. He's from Radiant. I've actually watched this series, this is pretty cool. We never would expect like a full-on anime that's actually made by a French guy. That still gets like a full-on Japanese anime production. Kinda neat fun fact right there. Like as long as he can kinda try to control that berserk form of his, like, this is a pretty solid shoo-in. Next we got Ghoul Eclipse Moon Princess Archwizard Zadris from Death Mage. I don't know much about this series, it's only like a manga so far, I don't think they have an anime yet. You know, I looked up her info, magic user, got super strength due to her species, as well as pain resistance. She won't be able to job change for her skill bonuses, but hey, she's still pretty good at what she does, so hey, why not? Then, of course, you get the legendary mercenary himself, Solid Snake from Metal Gear. X-Spy, Special Ops, Mercenary, 180 IQ. Honestly, if it weren't for like the rapid aging, this is like peak choices right here. We got Aya Natsume from Tenjo Tenge. I've only heard about this series fairly recently, and I haven't watched the anime, but I am aware of how the story goes. There's some videos I've watched. Bit of an oddball, yeah, but she's pretty good with a sword, all things considered. And that ability with the Dragon's Eye can be pretty useful. At the same time, though, it also kind of has its cons. Okay, that's just how it is with special eye powers, am I right? Got Sayuri from Dead or Alive. Now, I kind of just assumed that since Dead or Alive is a fighting game series, she probably knows combat moves, but actually no, she's pretty much mainly from just the volleyball spin-off, so she's kind of just this random nurse. Like, she knows how to... Like, she has some medical experience and stuff, which, you know, that could still be useful. She can't fight herself, but, like, good support right there. Then we got Dr. Emmett Brown from Back to the Future. Of course, genius, so obviously he can make some cool tech stuff. I mean, his car is a time machine, for crying out loud. Bit loopy and absent-minded, but hey, you can't argue with the results. And we got Anita from Darkstalkers. Got some psychokinesis, ESP, clairvoyance, and such. I mean, yeah, the trauma is unfortunate. Don't we all? But hey, got like powers and stuff. She's from a fighting game series. I'm not sure if she's been playable. I think she might have in at least one game. At least like was involved with some major characters. So she probably knows the way around the block when it comes to a fight. Then we got Sutera, the secret archer from Grand Blue Fantasy. Another archer type character. Well versed in some magic as well. Kind of tying to the bow and all that. Bit of an exaggerator with some events, since blowed up the stories to be a bit more than what they actually were, but now again, capable fighter. She's from Grand Blue, so obviously she knows how to fight. Then we got probably one of the best roles I got ever, Zunisha from One Piece. This gigantic island-sized elephant that's like 1,000 years old, and it's just absolutely huge. Like, this thing will just swing its trunk once and just completely mess up multiple battleships. This is ridiculous. And it's great. I love it. Freaking Zunisha, man. Right then and there, I basically got like a whole island for the fleet to work on. Best role I've ever had. Bar none. Then we got Lini Arsh from Danmachi. I couldn't find too much information on her, but she's pretty good with some support magic to kind of help out. Then we got Selphie from Final Fantasy VIII. She got some skills for the nunchaku. Also well versed with some tech. I think she used to drive trains and such. Really uplifting kind of person, very upbeat. But like most Final Fantasy characters, there's some trauma as well. That happens a lot, god damn it. Then we got Shallot from Dragon Ball. Specifically like Dragon Ball Legend, one of those mobile games or something. Now of course, he's a Saiyan, so by default that's like guaranteed good pick. When you can never really go wrong with having a Saiyan who isn't malicious. And of course he also learned like God Ki, so he also got God forms on top of super forms. Bit short-tempered though. Not gonna lie though, I mainly picked him up because of the Devil Artemis videos, so that shit's funny. Then we got E101 Beta from Sonic the Hedgehog. As you can tell here, this is the Mach 2 version, so he could fly, shoot missiles, energy cannons. Basically on some Kamehameha shit, oddly enough. Probably need to reprogram him a bit, reprogram him a bit to actually have him cooperate instead of attacking people. One Eggman robots, obviously. Then we got the Passionate Coast Celeria from Dragalia Lost. Also really well-versed swordsman. Seems to be a specialist in water and ice type magic. Just don't expect her to hold back when training. Then Liz Mutton from Spelunky. Expert adventurer. Kinda hard to warm up to in Needs or Space, but you know, it's a Spelunky character, and if their asses ain't dead, they're probably dying constantly due to cursed caves they'd be exploring. She's probably seen a lot of freaking ways to die. Like a lot. We got Viola from One Piece. Flamenco dancer, assassin, accomplished fighter. And while the manipulation stuff might be a bit concerning, it's at the same time I kind of understand it, because like, imagine having to deal with Doflamingo. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on any woman, I'll be honest. Except for Jermaine, she can suffer. Be tough. Lizette L. Chelsea from Unamori Himari. Now, when I first saw this character, I thought, like, hey, just a maid for whatever. But then I looked her up and, like, super strength, cut proof, can teleport, regarding, like, limitation with the distance from the teacup, freaking tea-based magic. Honestly, aside from the fact that she'll die if that teacup breaks, like, this girl's freaking busted. Like, have you ever met someone who's just completely immune to sword damage? Like, blades just can't hurt the woman. It'll shred up her clothes, but like, she'll be fine. It's nuts. You can just straight up lift buildings like she's superhuman or some shit. Then we got the shopkeeper from The Messenger. Kinda snarky, but helpful with items and tips. A bit condescending. Now, personally, my theory is that she's also that archer person that you meet at the start of the game that gives the messenger the message to pass on in the first place, but yeah, that's just me. Then we got Ricardo Welkin from ReZero. Enhanced senses, some magic ability. Great at melee. Kind of rash despite the tactical expertise the guy has. Probably one of the first Beastman type characters recruited. Which honestly I feel like I probably should get more of, because of how like Zoe is a very like, it's literally like the island, the furry island. So you'd think there'd be like more of those there. I'd be collecting a lot of humans or other stuff instead. I'll try to work on that. Then we got Sakura from Street Fighter. Martial artist, decent cook, outgoing and noble spirit. While she's still like relatively green compared to a lot of other Street Fighter characters, like she's still pretty capable. Like, you know, Shoto characters, like they got them hands. That won't be denied. Then we got Wyndham, or whatever, Reika Shirogane from Kaiju Girls. I'm going to assume she has like the same powers as the kaiju she's based on, so you know, like high jumps, lasers and shit. Not really into the whole boys love thing, but you do you, I guess. And finally, Shuten Doji from the Fate series. Now, if you know anything about Shuten Doji, like in general, not just Fate specifically, probably not the best person to have around, but like, hey, if I can just point her at the enemies, that should be fine. I'm not drinking that sake though, I don't want to die. Two Noble Phantasm is just busted. So you're probably wondering, this is quite the lineup of characters here. What would I have to offer as leader in order to get them to follow me? Well, first off, there's just this unrelenting soul I got. I got that willpower and that never quit philosophy. I refuse to give up on life, regardless of hardship. I don't care how much bullshit I'm gonna go through. I just hate giving up. It's like a mix of rage, spite, and raw determination. I'm getting through some shit. Maybe I've done it before. Yeesh. Some other stuff I can do well. I say I'm oddly pretty good at stealth in terms of I've been able to walk around without people even noticing I'm there. I'd be sneaking up on people if I'm like a freak accident, not even intentionally. Like I'd be hearing stuff really good, hearing, good reflexes, good vision. Really, we're talking about like full-on skills. Well, I say I'm pretty good with various things in art and carpentry, basic programming. I was quite a whiz at dodgeball, and while I never got the green belt, I learned a thing or two from karate. Honestly, you kind of just have to be good with fighting in general if you're going to be living in places like the urban end of New Jersey. You never know when shit's going to hit the fan, and things might get real. Like, shit goes down. In terms of, like, mental fortitude, I survived dealing with the Sonic fandom for over 15 years, and I'm still sane. I know, crazy. I'm also pretty good at cooking, inspiring some parkour here and there. I'm also pretty good with stuff like bicycles, scooters, rollerblading. I know my way around these things. Seemed alright. Never got into skateboarding despite how much I enjoyed the games. Never too late, I suppose. The big one, though, is that I'm a massive lore nerd. I be learning about all kinds of stuff from all kinds of various fictional universes out there. I even fully understand Kingdom Hearts. Jeez. And for some reason, apparently this counts as a skill for some people now. Yes, I shower regularly. Does that make me OP? I have no idea. But what I do know is that getting to learn about magic and ki from some of these summoned characters would definitely be a great boon to my repertoire. And so we go. Building up a starting base on the ruins of Karu City on Zanisha's back. Christening my first ship with the name of the Solana. And bolstering my forces until we reach the base of Void Beast Bayarth. And completely body him, because let's be honest, like, so many of these characters could probably beat this shit. I could probably just throw the Grand Blue characters at them and they'll win on their own. I could just throw Shallot at them and that's just gonna go so fast. Zanisha could probably solo him too, just Trunk. Done. So many ways to beat this skeleton, it's hilarious. Anyways, with all that in mind, and with everyone's efforts, we will clear our way through this land of void and proceed further beyond to victory. So what would be next for this infinite badass fleet, after accomplishing so much already with only 32 members summoned to my aid? Well, obviously we're probably going to be facing some new stuff in the future. What we'll be facing, mind you? Well, you'll just have to wait and see in part 2, when we find the true gravity of the situation. Stay tuned. Also, we immediately started grinding his bones to make magic potions and stuff. It was neat.